Bridging Humans. Stories are told and bridges are built. Your boy back. I'm back. I'm back, family. Well, I'm back. I'm so happy to be back with y'all. I'm happy to see y'all. I'm happy that I can be here. And I know I have been gone from this platform for quite a bit. The last episode I put out was probably back in July of last year, y'all. And I've had a few things to go on, but shout out to everybody. I've had a few subscribers since I have not been on air, since I have not been recording, and I just want to appreciate you for watching my content. And I have not just been sitting idle, y'all. I have really been still doing the work of building humans. I've been doing the work of building humans. I've been doing a lot. I've been going through a lot. 2025 was a hard year for me. 2025 was a year where I went through a lot of transition, but I'm happy to be back, and I'm gonna just come and tell y'all a little bit about that and go into the episode. I'm happy to be back with the podcast, and I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I recorded another episode to be my first episode the other day, and it was given a lot of precursors. It was given a lot of, like, I'm just gonna let y'all know what this season finna be, and I'm gonna let y'all know what you got to prepare your mind for. But I just decided, no, man, I got to go in. I got to come out swinging. I got to come out swinging. Shout out to all my listeners, all the people who's been watching my content. One beautiful thing about media, and one thing about this podcasting thing, it has afforded me the ability to construct a brand. And I understand you have to hone in so tough and so hard on what you believe. And you have to hone in so tough and so hard on the things that you carry as an individual. And I've had to do that. I've had to really, really fundamentally build my platform, and I've been building it. And I'm so happy that I've been building it. And again, if you have not already, subscribe, share, or like this podcast, I'm asking you to, right now, if you believe in the work that I'm doing around Black men, if you believe in the work I'm doing around community, if you believe in the work I'm doing, please subscribe, share, and like this episode. And this is episode what, 39. This episode 39, and I'm not going forward, I'm not going to label like seasons, but and I know this is the third season I'm going into this, but I'm going to just label it by the episode. So this episode 39, y'all. The cycle stops here. The cycle stops right here. The cycle stops here. We have to do the work of unlearning what broke us. And to understand to understand that we have to unlearn, a friend of mine reminded me the other day, and I used unlearning what broke us as a hook. And a friend of mine, he was like, Ray, you gotta learn first before you unlearn. And I was like, yeah, bro, no, you absolutely right. We have to learn that how things are going, how we're doing things is not the way, or not even is not the way, but there's a more progressive way of handling and doing all of these things. So and that friend, you know who you are. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you for just being an accountability partner of mine and a friend of mine, y'all. But one thing I want to add to this season is I want to do like a culture check. And I know in prior seasons, I did not do a whole lot of like outside stuff, like stuff happening in the media and stuff happening. But I want to kind of add a little bit of that, but I want to be intentional about adding about what I'm adding to the podcast. So I decided to call it Culture Check. So this is Culture Check. Now, Culture Check is going to be about what's happening now, what's happening in our community, things that's going to affect Black men, things that, is going to affect us good or bad or indifferent, things that's going to really be about us as a people. And so by saying that, I want to start out and talk about what's happening now. And I want to talk about Michael B. Jordan's Oscar win. Shout out, dog. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan for winning the Oscar. And when he won, y'all, the other week, y'all, I was like, yeah, bro. I was actually sitting in Chili's that night waiting on my food that I was watching. I was like, dang, man, my boy finally got an Oscar. He got an Oscar off being nominated off the first go round. You know, he joined the likes of Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Jamie, Will Smith, Forrest Whitaker. Shout out to all those black men, and to see him get on stage and really hone a man that's honing in on his craft, a man that's really going after what he want. Y'all, shout out to Michael B. Y'all, and shout out also to Ryan Coogler for the amazing film Sinners. Sinners was an amazing film. I love it, and I know a lot of some people didn't like it because of a lot of things that went into it from a historical perspective. And I'll say that again, went into it from a historical perspective. Like he went into it talking about the things that happened with our lineage of people from that time period, even coming up to now. And I want to say to you all, I want to just let you all know that we cannot negate history. We cannot negate history. And saying we can't negate history, I kind of want to go into my set right now, y'all. So if you're listening um, and you're not watching on YouTube, you're listening, y'all, I have a whole new set. I'm still in my shop, but I've kind of redesigned some stuff, redesigned how I'm sitting, and I have a couple of my favorite books down here. I have a picture of my mom, my dad, and my first toy. And I love plants. If you ever been to Taylor's Salon in Memphis, Tennessee, you'll see I got plants all at the front of the shop. So I love plants, and I got this peace lily. Why I got this peace lily? I lost my mom. I lost my mom. 2025 was a hard year for me, and I lost the person that made me. Um, and I lost my dad almost 43 years ago. And so now I just lost my mom. 2025 was a year, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Man, it was a year. Um, and now when I look back on it, it was a very important year because I got to spend the last year with my mother, and we went through a lot of healing. We went through a whole lot of healing. We went through a lot of things. We had to realize that nothing else mattered in life more than the love we have. And nothing else matters in life. When we get done with our differences, when we get done with the things we don't agree with, y'all, nothing else matter in life outside of the love we have and share for each other. And I was going to the plant for a particular reason, but I wanted y'all to see my new set because now my mom is joining the ancestors. She's taking on a new role as an ancestor. My dad is already an ancestor. But I was talking about history and Ryan Coogler in this movie, and I wanted to kind of make it like kind of looking at this plant. Now, we see these beautiful leaves, we see them growing, them sprouting, and this represents life now. But down in the plant, in the root of the plant, bro. In the root, and this the inner teacher in me, y'all. But in the root, in the plant, in the dirt, beyond the dirt, going all the way down, there's roots, and it took time, and it takes time for that root to build, to grow, to spread. Because the history of this plant is not the leaf. The history of this plant, like the leaf, is the manifestation now, the current manifestation of the plant, but the history of the plant lived way before this leaf came up. And that's how I look at life. And so when I tie everything back in on the culture check and Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan playing the roles you played, bro, shout out to y'all, man, because y'all did y'all thing at giving us a historical perspective of the black world. So yeah, now I got the culture check out the way. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the episode, man. The cycle stops here. With Ray, the cycle stops here. The cycle stops with me. If you notice, normally I don't really show any brands or anything, but I bought this brand, Fly Purpose. I bought this brand a couple years back at the Essence Fest. Shout out to the guys that whose brand this is, Fly Purpose, and I appreciate what it says and what it means to my life. Number one, I love the color. I love the color, but not outside of the color. I got this hat on because my purpose is fly. I've had to get here, y'all, to know and understand how fly your boy purpose is. Yes, my purpose is fly. And so I'm wearing this hat for every man, every woman, or everybody who's out here who really don't feel like your purpose is fly, who really don't feel like your purpose matter. Yes, your purpose matter, and you fly. So I'm wearing this today because I want y'all to know and understand that it took work to get here. And I do believe and I do know that my purpose is fly. Yeah. Shout out to my boys at Fly Purpose. But yeah, I just kind of want to add that little tidbit. But let's get into this episode, y'all. I'm working my new set, working my thing. So I got stuff, set up. So I'm really trying to like get into the things. I'm trying to get into like what I be on. I want y'all to understand me on a deeper, even deeper level going into this season. And you will. And you will. I think that a man that does not stand for something will fall for anything. And we cannot, especially in this day and time, we cannot continue to stay neutral on stuff. We can't continue to just be neutral about everything because we don't grow the ways we should grow by staying neutral. But the cycle stops here, unlearning what broke us. So before I got to the unlearning, y'all, I had to learn more. And so going into me learning, I had to understand that me holding on to certainty really kind of paralyzed me into not understanding life beyond what I saw. Because I needed to understand that in order for me to grow, I cannot. I mean, guys, I know certain things and I feel like I know a lot. I know quite a bit. But in order for me to grow, I had to let certainty go and move into a life of curiosity. That's how you grow, right? That's the only way I got here. And when I talk and when I speak, I try to speak from an empathetic place because I understand a lot of us were taught things, and a lot of us learn things based off what our parents gave us, our mamas gave us, our daddies gave us, our people gave us, and we learn things based off of how they felt and what they thought. And so honestly, to this day, like y'all, it's 2026. I'm so surprised that there are still people that hold narratives and that hold things that they've never questioned. Like anything that you understand as truth, I do believe that it can stand to be questioned. That's curiosity. When you can question what you believe, how you believe, and the way you believe it. That's curiosity. And so in order to unlearn, I had to learn new things. And y'all, I love the Bible. I'm just gonna say this right now. That I totally respect the 66 books. And I all not but and because let's do what I said. I said and I understand that there are more books to read. There are more intellectual pieces about life that we should understand and know, and especially on nuanced topics. But I want to go into Black manhood today. I want to talk about Black manhood and brothers. I want to talk to the brothers. Y'all, we live by and we've gone by so many pieces and so many things in community. And to understand that we've gone through things that has harmed us, things that has hurt us. Now, not everything I want to say, shout out to the men and the women that taught us, that we learned from, that we got life from and gave us valuable tools and valuable lessons, but not everything helped us, dog. Not everything served us the way it was supposed to serve us. Some of that stuff hurt. Some of it hurt, and on this episode, I want to break a few things down, but I will use this episode to be a precursor to go into where I'm going because I love it, because my purpose is fly, because I understand that there's no way tables can shake. There's no way I can get out of the clutter of the podcasting space down here unless I speak up and really say how I feel about everything. So I'm moving into it, y'all. So Thank y'all for being here. And I kind of want to start with talking about emotional suppression. And I got a funny little piece as I'm gonna take off my fly purpose hat for a second. My friends know I'm very dramatic, and so in me explaining and you understanding where I am and how I explain and how I teach, I'm very dramatic. So as you see, I'm putting on this mask, bruh. I got this. So again, if you're not listening, I mean, if you're not watching, you're listening. And so I got a Pooh Shiesty mask on right now. They call this mask the Pooh Shiesty mask. So I'm putting it on right now. But I put this mask on to talk about and break down the emotional suppression. This is the mask we're given as boys. This is the mask we're given when we're little boys to understand how we handle emotions. Figuratively, this is how we handle giving little boys the script for emotions. We were given this as little boys. We were handed this. And you want to know why I put this mask on? Because every time, now, granted, a lot of us, some of us, we were bad kids. We did things to get, discipline. But for the most part, every time something happened and we were told to shut up, this is what they gave us. Shut up. Stop all that crying. Boys ain't supposed to cry like that. And every time we were given this is how we look. Figuratively, this is what they did, y'all. And what we learned with these masks, that emotions were weak. We learned that emotions were weak. We learned that if I express and say how I feel, I can get slapped in the mouth. Matter of fact, you bet not say anything. Be quiet. And so, learning this as black men, we learn that emotions are weak. We learn that we survive by being quiet, by shutting the fuck up. You need to be quiet. We learned that I'm okay when I'm quiet. And as you watch me do this, if you're watching me talking about this is what it looked like to stay out the way. Because we learn psychologically, I don't need to say a whole lot. Because if I say a whole lot, I might get in trouble. If I say more than what's expected, I might get in trouble. So I can be feeling a way about something. I can have some strong feelings that can invoke change about something, but I got this mask on because I need to keep a poker face all the time. I need to keep a face that says, I'm not trying to start any trouble. I need to keep this face that says, I'm not trying to get off into anything other than what my mama or my daddy or my family or my history told me. So I'm just going to shut up. This is what we give little boys. And this. I carry this for a long time, y'all. I carry it for a long time. I carry how I feel about myself with this mask. So I really shouldn't say what I feel. This is what we give our boys. This is what we were giving y'all. We were giving this early, y'all. And we need to know and understand, y'all. We have to operate in wisdom. I'm gonna take this mask off because it's hot. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. Knowing the difference between strength and shutting down. I'm talking about unlearning. We have to know and understand, y'all, what strength is as a man and what shutting down is as a man. Because strength is I feel, I'm allowing myself to feel what I'm feeling, but I'm gonna move through it. And shutting down is I can't afford to feel this shit, so I'm just going. I don't want to feel it at all. I don't want to feel nothing about it at all. And so the difference between having strength and shutting down when it comes to emotions, having the strength to feel what I'm feeling, brother, and being able to move through that, right? Having the strength to feel it and to know that I'm gonna work my way through it versus me just shutting down and walking away. So many men, So many of us, and as I talk about this, I'm thinking about like multiple lived experiences. And when I say multiple lived experiences, whether you are gay, whether you're straight, whether you're bi, whatever, and I'll explain as I go, because I'm breaking this down like that, because like how the world is set up, how we look at this thing, how we manage our lived experiences be based off who we sleeping with. And so as I think, and I said that to say, as I think about different lived experiences, shutting down centrally means I'm just not going to deal with that. It's just too much for me to deal with. And I feel like a lot of us don't have a lot of emotional legwork in life. And so when we learn to shut down, whether I'm leaving my household, whether I'm leaving my partner, whether I'm walking away from a job, whether I'm walking away from a friend circle because I don't know how to handle this. This is just too many emotions for me to handle at once. And that's fair, y'all. And when I say it's fair that I may not be able to handle it now. So I'm gonna pause it and come back to it because that's my strength. And strength means as a man, I'm gonna come back to it and I'm gonna come back to it and I'm gonna move through it responsibly, y'all. So one of the first pieces that I'm discussing with y'all that I feel like we need to unlearn is emotional suppression. Like learning to not give our boys this whole like, bruh, shut up. Hence the work that I do with helping inspire men. Hence the work that our organization so effortlessly do to give our boys and our young men a new rubric, y'all. We got to rebrand this thing called manhood, man. We got to rebrand it in a way that we understand. That we understand. Not only do we understand, but our young men understand that suppressing how we feel never helps. It didn't help our daddy. It didn't help our granddaddy. It didn't help our great great granddaddy. And I understand the further we go back, I understand historically our people had to hold what they felt for safety reasons, right? Our people had to hold what they felt for safety reasons. Our people had to the men in particular had to really conduct themselves in a way to where they didn't lose their lives. Like it got risky. And I think we historically moving up to the present, we're holding on to a lot of things that we really don't have to anymore, black men, when it comes down to expression. So that's the rebrand, man. That's the rebrand. And just moving on, moving forward, man. I want to talk about now sex and power. Man, this one right here is heavy, but sex and power, another thing we got to unlearn. We got to unlearn a lot of things, so many pieces sexually. It's legit so many pieces sexually, and I really won't get into everything on this episode, but I kind of just want to start with understanding that hypersexuality is a real thing for black men. Like we have been set up to be so hypersexual. We've been set up to center every single piece around our lives around sex and sexuality and how you feel and who you sleeping with and what you're doing. And we bring our boys up in this because we were brought up into this. And we measure manhood with sex. And we shouldn't. Being a man means I have to have control of everything. Whether I have the ability to be in control of everything, I have to have the power simply because I'm a man. And I probably don't even have all my stuff together, but control and power is what I have to have as a man. I have to have that over people to feel like I'm a man. It's almost like a prerequisite, if you will. A lot of times we're taught about manhood that we have to, number one, be a sex machine. And number two, you have to have control. Sex and control. I gotta know everything. I cannot not know, right? Right? Everything. I need to know how to put everything in the house together. I need to know how to fix the car. I need to know how to do everything at work. I need to know as a man. And we have made sex and power and control prerequisites of manhood. Like these are pieces that we gotta have. These are pieces that we gotta have. But have y'all ever thought to question some of this? I mean, for real, because we've operated in such a certainty about these things. I challenge you right now. If you're a black man across the spectrum right now, question some of this stuff. Like, it's okay to be curious and to question like some of the pieces we were brought up on. And I'd argue that we were taught sex. We were taught this not only in community, we was taught this in church too. Oh man, we were taught that our worth is tied to sexual conquest. Oh, we learned it. We ain't just learning in school. We ain't just learning in the locker room. We ain't just learning at home, in the neighborhood, in the community. We learned this at church too. We learned it. Shoot me if you want, but we learned all of this. hmm Listen, a man, how many women you sleeping with? How many girls you got? How many, if you will, how many hoes you got? And we tied all of this to our manhood. We tied these pieces. And we learned, true enough, I know I brought up church, we learned that sex before marriage is forbidden, right? We it really sounds crazy saying it right now because it does not speaks to honesty, but we learned that sex before marriage was forbidden. But we learned sexual language in church, in Sunday school, on trips. Shout out to my favorite Sunday school teacher growing up. She's still alive, my girl, Miss Joanna. I love you so much, and I appreciate you. And every church trip, we learn about sex because we had conversations. We learned to say one thing around the adults and do a whole nother thing when we're not around adults. We learn, but matter of fact, some of the adults talk with us about it as kids. Some of the adults behaved and did things in front of us kids, and we learned about sex. In Jesus' name, I'd argue. So it wasn't just the streets, it wasn't just the neighborhoods. We tied sex to manhood. Take a pause right here, y'all. Please like, share, or subscribe as I go deeper. And I'm going deeper. I'm going to keep going. But y'all, we have got to redefine what manhood looks like. And that's the rebrand. We have to. We have to break down and give it something that's tangible. We have to give manhood a tangible feel that makes sense across the board. Because right now we're flooded with information. We're so flooded with information, whether you on the left or the right or in the middle. Like we have so much information we're flooded with. But redefining manhood to me is character. We have to replace conquest with character because we were brought up in sexual conquest as men. But y'all, that led us to a dead end, y'all. Manhood should be based off character. Manhood should be based off responsibility. Manhood should be based off of how I take care of my business, how I help and love my community. That should be manhood. Manhood should be how responsible I am holding leadership as a man, which is integrity, which is honoring the woman, which is honoring other brothers, which is honoring other human beings. That's manhood. Who am I when nobody's looking? Who am I when nobody's watching? Who am I when I don't have a camera in my face? When I'm not able to get on social media and make my rants when something bad happened in the city? Who am I? Like right now, we recently had a killing in the city of Memphis, and it really grinds my gears because I know how much work not only does our organization try and do in the community, but I know how much work like the real folks is out here doing the work trying to do in community, and it grinds my gears when I see people get on their soapbox of social media talking about kids need stuff to do, the kids ain't got this, the kids ain't got that, y'all. Man, but it's people out here working, and y'all ain't supporting. It's people out here working, and you You wait until something happens and you get on your soapbox on social media and just complain, y'all. That day is over with. That day is done, y'all. We got to do better. We got to do better as black men, and as we do the work of unlearning that sexual conquest is not how we build manhood. As we do the work of unlearning how sexual conquest is not how we build manhood, and it's about character and integrity. It's also about vulnerability. Vulnerability is being honest. Man, being honest with how I feel, being honest with where I am, and being honest about where I'm going. And I know that takes work, brothers. It takes work. Y'all still with me? I hope y'all still with me, man. Uh, I'm 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 at the halftime. I'm headed home. But shout out for y'all that if you're still listening, if you're still watching, thank you. And I just want to get a lot off my chest and kind of give y'all like a rubric of where this season is going for me, because I am a black man who loves humans, and my work is bridging humans, particularly black men, how we handle each other, how and people will say I'm crazy for this, but um, my work of merging the straight and queer community of black men, and the work of unlearning toxic things that I've now learned was toxic. That's what I'm doing. That's where I'm going this season. But I want to hit too. I know I mentioned church because y'all know I'm a church boy. Shout out to all the church choir boys that's watching this. But what church got wrong? And I know that's such a controversial statement, but the church did get some things wrong. Now the church got a lot right. I ain't gonna lie. The church used to be, and the church, built us on a lot of community pieces, and it gave us pieces of love that I feel like can never be replaced. But also, church gave us some toxic stuff, though. Church gave us some toxic stuff, though. We got toxic religious structures. We learned shame. We learned silence. We learned homophobia as masculinity from church. Gosh. Oh my God. I know. We learned homophobia as masculinity. Homophobia is really a prerequisite that we learned that meant being a man. It meant, in order for me to be a man, I need to hold homophobia at my center. Gosh. We learned that as kids. So whether you're gay or straight, whether you're a gay black man or a straight black man, 9 times out of 10, if you grew up in this Bible Belt South, you learned homophobia as a part, as an intricate part of masculinity. Gosh, I had to pause on that, y'all, because that was even heavy for me to say, but that is what it is, like real talk, man. But what has the church taught us about manhood that we need to unlearn? I want you to write in the comments. If you can, write a question or write a comment. What has the church taught us about manhood that we have to unlearn in order to move forward in this thing, y'all? Seriously. But let's get into this for a minute, because homophobia is out. It's been packaged in the definition of manhood. It's been packaged, and clearly, because a lot of things, guys will argue, well, Raymond, you know what the Bible says, you know what the Bible, but surfacely, the Bible says a whole lot, and surfacely, we can get whatever we want, whatever justification we want to get out of the Bible for whatever we want to get it from, we can get that from it. I'm gonna leave that right there, but I'm gonna kind of go into what I'm getting into, y'all. We learn as a prerequisite that being a real man means not being gay. We learned that being a real man means you ain't gay, bruh. That's what a real man is. That's what we learned a real man was. That's what we learned about manhood as black boys. And so imagine psychologically, again, whether you gay or you straight or you bi or whatever type of black man you are, you learn that being gay means not a real man. Sit there with a black boy, and sit there with a black boy as he grow into life, growing into teenage years, growing into adolescent teenage years, growing into into early adult years, going into like if you learn that masculinity and manhood is about not being gay. Like honestly, just I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna just cut the bull for a minute. A lot of men feel like as long as I'm not gay, I'm a real man. Regardless of how I show up, regardless of how I take care of my responsibilities, regardless of how I help community, regardless of how I live my life, I carry myself because I got all the holes, but I'm not gay. I love God, and I'm not gay. I love God. I go to church. I do everything I need to do, but I'm not gay. So that makes me a real man, y'all. We have to unlearn that. And I think that if you're a real man watching this today, listening to this today, and you hear me, you know that there's more nuance to being a man. And I think we have to tear that structure down because there are real men who are not gay. There are real men who are not married. There are real men who does the work of community and helping community that ain't got that traditional family structure. How I know? Because I'm one of them. I'm one of those men, man. Yeah, I told y'all I'm gonna give y'all the real this season. I'm going for blood. Your boy going for blood. RayBridgingHumans. Stories I told, bridges I built. This is where I'm going, y'all, and we have to learn. And I want to ask this question: what is a healthy whole? What does a healthy whole spiritual community for Black men look like? Like, what would it look like for Black men to be healthy and whole and be spiritually connected to God together? What would that look like? Hmm. How would it look like not centering the love of God and manhood on sex? What would it look like not centering the love of God and manhood on sex? What would that look like? What would it look like to teach scriptures from a trauma informed perspective? I think everybody who gets up with a microphone, be it church, be it at work, be it anybody who deals with humans directly, I feel like should be coming from a trauma informed perspective, but particularly the origins of how we teach manhood. I feel like how we teach manhood, and not only how we teach manhood, but if you're religious or not, how we teach scripture. Anybody showing up on a microphone should be teaching from a trauma informed perspective. Shut it down. I don't give a damn how eloquent you speak, bro. I don't give a damn how eloquent or how big your platform is. If you're not speaking to human beings from a trauma informed perspective and you're speaking things over their life that has to do with their life, that you're speaking things over their life that has to do with their identity, you're speaking things over their life that has to do with the way they live, and you're not speaking from a trauma informed perspective, you need to sit down. That's rebranding. We got to rebrand this thing, y'all. We got to rebrand how we building up our little boys. And I know y'all see me and y'all see how passionate I am about helping little Black boys because I don't want to see another young Black boy go through some of the things I went through, go through some of the things I've watched my brothers and friends go through. Y'all, I don't want to see another one go through it. So that's why I passionately work the way I do, because I understand, y'all, we've been given this script. We've been given this mask, this emotional mask. We've been given this script about sex and being hypersexual. We've been given this script about being, and we take that hypersexuality and we tie it to scripture. Oh man, we got it. We got it. You got to be this to be a man. And that's just not true, y'all. That's just not true. And I kind of want to land with this. I want to land with this, y'all. The rebranding, y'all. What does manhood actually look like? What does a real man actually look like? What does he sound like? How do a real man operate? How do a man that says he's a real man that takes care of responsibility, how does that look? And I want to tell y'all, for my world, the cycle stops here. The toxic cycle stops here. Like I will no longer carry things. I will no longer carry behaviors. I will no longer carry things that does not look like the progression of the black man. That's how I'm starting this season, y'all. That's how I'm starting this season. And I wanna pose this question. I want you to write in the comments. I want you to sit with your younger self right now. If you could sit with your younger self, with the little black boy growing up in the South, if you could sit with him and tell him one thing about manhood, what would you tell him? How would you describe manhood if you can go back and sit with your little 5-year-old self? If you go back and sit with your little 8-year-old self, how would you describe manhood to him? What would you say to him? Hmm. What would I say to mine? What would I say to little 8-year-old Raymond? What would I say to little 9-year-old Raymond who's trying to learn life, who's trying to take God with him, who's trying to live in a society that's structured and built out, and manhood that's built out around sex? How would I describe manhood to him? And I would tell him this one piece, bruh, be honest. Be honest about who you are. I know that you're going to be challenged when you're around all the other boys. You're going to be challenged by even adults. But Lil Raymond, be honest about who you are. Lil Raymond, be honest about how you feel, because guess what? Everybody is not alike. Like this one rubric does not make a man. I would tell Lil Raymond, bruh, everybody has a unique existence in the earth. And who you are, how you feel, you're not crazy. I would tell him that. But y'all, for our boys, we got, and I want y'all to write in the comments what you would say to your younger self. But we have to redefine this thing called manhood. Redefine strength as courage. Redefine strength, having strength as courage. The courage to be honest, the courage to feel, the courage to heal, the courage to be who you are. That's what manhood is. What would faith look like without weaponizing it? If we didn't have to weaponize faith against other humans, what would my faith look like if I didn't have to build up my ego so tough off of weaponizing it against people that's not like me? What would our faith look like? What would you tell a black boy before the world gets to him first? What would you tell a black boy? How would you try and train a black boy if we could figuratively have black boys in an incubator for about a year? What would you train him about manhood before we unleash him to the wilds of the world? Before we unleash him to learning about things in the world, y'all. We were handed manhood, y'all. We were handed this manhood built on silence, shame, control. We were handed this manhood and we carried this because it's what we knew. We carried this because it's all we knew. It's all our daddies knew. It's all our granddaddies knew. It's all our great granddaddies knew. And so we carried this because it's what we knew, y'all. But there is another way. There is another way. As black men, we got to start telling the truth about what it really is. I'm not talking about what we were told to feel. I'm not talking about how we were told to operate, but we got to tell the truth about what it really is, right? We got to tell the truth that love is where it is. We got to tell the truth about how strength is courage for you to be uniquely who you were made to be. Strength is having the courage to defend your mama, your sisters. Strength is having the courage not to just live in rape culture just because. Oh, I'm gonna break down rape culture too this season. I'm gonna do it, y'all. And we got to understand that we got to start telling the truth, not only to ourselves, but to each other and to our boys. And as I land this episode, talking about and giving the things that I've had to unlearn, Y'all, I'm a community builder. I'm a barbershop owner. Y'all know this. I've been a barber for 26 years. I've owned a shop for a good since 2008. You do the numbers. It's 2026. I've owned a shop since 2008, and I'm a community leader, and I am founder of a nonprofit, and I am a gay man. And I know that right there for a lot of people may disqualify me. That may, and that's just a story I used to tell myself. I don't tell myself that no more. I am trusting my fruit. And if you're watching this or you're listening to me, to know that I'm a community leader, I'm a business owner, I'm a family man, and I'm a gay man, bro. I am a gay man. And I know for the religious people, for the people you're still built and wrapped in the idea of a man around homophobia. So I understand, you may get off the train here, but I'm letting you know who I am because I'm honest now. I'm honest. If I left this earth today and I saw God, one thing you can't say about Raymond today. Or one thing I know I wouldn't be down on is Raymond wasn't honest. And because I feel like a prerequisite of manhood should be the strength to have the courage to be honest. I stand on my fruit. And I just want to encourage other men right now. Men in the community who have showed up, who do things unselfishly, who show up for not only your family, but other people in community. That's what it's about. That love is what it's about. That's what manhood is. That's how we are going forward with rebranding manhood in 2026. That's what it's about. It's time out for us to live in this hypersexual ass conquest of manhood that don't land us right. It's time for us to stop living in this hypersexual conquest of manhood that leads us to a world of child support. It leads us to a world of all kinds of STDs. It leads us to a world of all kinds of soul ties that we have because all I was taught to be a man is how much I focus and have sex. We got to unlearn, brothers. Y'all, I also, since I been on break, I've started school. I'm in my second semester now. I'm going to get a degree in sociology and psychology, minor in psychology. But I love humans. I love people. I love my people. I love our people. I love all of the creators, beings. And I particularly focus on Black male issues because that's who I am. And you'll see this season where I'm going and how I'm merging worlds. There will be boy talks. There will be talks where you will just see me and somebody else. And a lot of times you will just see me expressing myself in all of this. And you'll see me and guests. Now, sometimes you're going to see straight up gay conversations. And I don't want you to be afraid of it. You're going to see that. And you're also going to see straight conversations. You're going to see me have conversations with straight men. You're going to see me have conversations with gay men. You're going to see me have the male conversation because we need that. And I know that lane is not heavily sought after. I know it's like, Ray, either you're going to get on the gay side or you're going to get on the straight side. You're going to get on the side and you're going to have to ride with that side because that's where the numbers are. That's where the dollar's at. That's where the fame and popularity is. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've had moments that I've said to myself, Raymond, damn, maybe you just need to kind of get on one lane and just ride that lane and just kind of figure out like that. That's easy though to me. And no knock, no shade to my brothers in the podcasting lane who talks about all queer issues. No shade to my brothers in the podcasting lane who talks about all straight issues. No shade to my brothers in the podcasting lane who centers manhood, centers podcasting on manhood being one form. But that's not what this is. I can be crazy, but I'm gonna go on this journey. I'm gonna do it. This is my purpose. This is my will. This is how the Creator created me to be. I'm a black man. I'm a strong black man. I'm a black man of honesty, of courage. I'm a black man who believes in the sanctity of love, period. However you get there. Thank you for watching this episode. Again, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. But this has been another episode of Ray Bridging Humans. Stories are told, bridges are built. Love y'all. Peace.